I seem at peace now in the podcast, but I've
Yeah,
had some
yeah.
tricky experiences. It's mainly to do with with like partnerships, and this is why I'm quite like careful now with like who I partner. When I first started this, I was more like, yes, okay, expand. Many people, like all these people are interested. These people want to be part of it and expand it. But then I wasn't like seeing, I wasn't really looking at the red flags that were popping up with certain partners, and that didn't go in a good direction at all.
While the world's still asleep, we're already grinding. Walking foreign streets, big city lights so blinding. Learning and hustling in this relentless game. The emerge pods next up, we're breaking the frame. Yeah. While the world's still asleep, we're breaking the frame. We already grinding. The emerge pods next up, we're breaking the frame. Big city lights, woo, so blinding. Check it out.
Hi, and welcome to the Emerge podcast, where we break down emerging markets and give you actionable insights on how to start and grow your business in them. Today, we're talking to two entrepreneurs, both in the same industry but in different countries. Namtan is the founder of SlowCombo in Thailand, which is a wellness center, and Laurent is a wellness facilitator working on sound therapy in Bali. It was interesting to learn about the similarities across the industries in both markets, as well as the opportunities and challenges for cross-border expansion in them. Check it out. I like to start things off by asking, how did you guys get to where you are right now? So, Lauren, we can start with you. So, you're in the wellness industry now in Bali. How did you end up in this industry doing what you're doing right now?
Well, actually, I was more in the arts and I would say arts and kind of like music entertainment before.
Hmm.
And a personal journey brought me to applying the same technology concepts to wellness. And this happened about 10 years ago when a lot of things changed in my life. And I decided to leave Europe and move to Bali and just focus on my own well being. So then it was a very natural, transition from using everything I've learned before in my professional life for creating immersive wellness experiences. Yeah.
Wonderful. So, were you a musician or more of a producer?
Both actually. So I was performing, I was producing events, producing multimedia art events, music festivals. I also worked in a music startup, working with music data. So yeah, different expressions of working with sound and arts through technology, through immersive events like art installations, music festivals, this kind of thing.
So now your wellness service, the wellness services that you offer, what are they? Well, what do they include?
Well, I developed an experience which was more with like an artistic intention in the beginning,
Mhm.
which was to create a very immersive sound experience. Because my background was with big sound systems in festivals and in events, and I really like the sound quality and immersive sound, and it's a very powerful way to move emotions, to move energy, and to take you places. So the idea was to do that, but in a way where you are very comfortable, where you're lying down, and you can feel sounds moving through your entire body. So the
Okay.
experience I developed, essentially, you're lying on a heated waterbed. So there's water inside a mattress, and there are vibrational speakers equipped underneath this mattress,
Hmm.
and a surround sound system and light. So it's a full like audio-visual, visceral, immersive experience designed to take you into an altered state of consciousness through deep relaxation, through deep surrender of the physical, mental, dimensions of your being. So it's essentially like sound healing, but with more technology.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty intense experience. So, navigating from that to Namtan. So, Namtan, how did you end up in the wellness space?
Yeah, so I guess totally different from Laurent. I actually started my career in beauty
Hmm.
industry, which is actually some kind of an art as well. I would say, yeah. But the reason I started joining in beauty industry was the reason because like I was fascinated by the power of beauty in a way that is help empower women to feel more confident and feel the with comfortable with where they are. And I was in beauty industry for a very long time, for over 10 years, and then I have a burnout multiple times.
Okay.
um, And that's kind of how I started to, like I think it was also a natural shift for me that I'm starting to pay more attention into my own healing journey because of it started from my physical health. I had an autoimmune disease. My health hormone was not doing well. I was having hormone imbalances, which at first it sounds like it's like a physical thing, but it's actually, I now realize it was actually also a mental and emotional thing as well, because I was obviously a living proof of a person who's struggling living in a hyper masculine world where we were always really like, go, 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 do, like tons of to-do lists, tons of project. I want to make this happen. I want to make this happen. I was like flying, like 30 flights a year, jet lag all the time, doing all this thing. And then starting to take a toll on my own health, basically. And that's where I'm starting to really invest more time in balancing my stress level, because that was when I know that my cortisol level was like over the rooftop, and my growth hormone plummet. My FSH hormone, which is follicular like hormone for female, basically, like down, going down, skyrocket downward as well. And that was when I'm like, okay, this is like my body manifesting that like things are not okay, with the way I live my life, but also with I'm starting to going on like the autopilot mode of doing a lot of things at the same time. And I'm starting to lose the purpose of like, why, like, what am I here, what am I trying to do? And that's why I'm starting to invest my energy and more time and starting my yoga journey. I mean, I always practice yoga since like long time ago, but never for a spiritual reason. um, I actually started yoga actually for the first time was when I have a heartbreak, like 10-15 years ago.
Okay.
For the first time. So I actually, it's kind of spiritual reason. So I'm like, okay, I need something to ground myself. So I started yoga, but I never deep dive until I started to have this health issue. And that's when I went on yoga certification for yoga teacher training. I'm starting to study like holistic health coaching. I'm starting to go in depth into like gut health and hormone health, which are the issue that I have. I was having from like acid reflux to like leaky gut to hormone imbalances, like everything that you could have. But really, when you come down to like track down of like, these are all functional. Sorry, what's the word? These are all like lifestyle issue. These are not like disease, right? So I'm starting to be, very passionate about like preventative medicine and
Okay.
study a lot more, and only going to see like functional medicine doctor instead of a doctor that trying to cure my symptom without understanding what is the root cause. So it's kind of like, I would say that like it's kind of start as like a holistic health journey from like physical body and mind balances, and then more in depth into like, okay, now I know the root cause is really coming from the mind, then we need to heal, to be healed on the emotional and mental health level before you heal your physical body. I mean, it's come hands in hand. And that's why I realized that like, okay, I wanted to, instead of empowering people with beauty as a tool, it's more than just like external facet, right? It's more than an inward journey. And that's why when I moved back to Thailand after being overseas for 10 years, then the first thing that I decided I wanted to do is I wanted to empower healing for people. So kind of shifted my skill set from doing marketing from beauty world into more of marketing, like conscious marketing for health and wellness industry. And that's where I am today.
Fantastic. And what does your business offer today? What are your services?
Yeah. Yes. So I'm one of the co-founders of SlowCombo, where we
Mhm.
try to empower healing for people in the city, especially. We're not in a place like Bali where Lohong is, where healing is accessible everywhere. So we're trying to create a little oasis where people can take a moment to like take a deep breath and live a little bit slower, because you know how life in the city can be a lot
Mhm.
of pressure, like what I was just saying. It's hyper masculine world, and people don't really know how to just take a pause and really take a step back to ask yourself a questions of like, how are you feeling today? Or even just asking your colleagues, of like, how are you? Like, people really take that question for granted. And you can see, evidently, like after COVID, mental health issue have a rise. I mean, it's always there, but I think people never really pay attention until you hit the
Hmm.
wall, and then you're forced to just be with yourself and have a think of like, is this really what you want to do for the rest of your life? Are you really happy with where you are right now? So slow combo is a combination of where we try to introduce a new lifestyle of like living more in the balance, from taking starting from like food, like nutritions, but then also physical health and wellness, but then also a deeper healing aspect with sound healing. And that's why me and Lohong, we kind of came across that modality that where we both passionate about. Like sound healing was one thing, but there are so many other modality as well. There's Ayurvedic nutritionists, there are other yoga, office syndrome yoga, or
Hmm.
even cacao ceremony, or working with plant medicine, different type of modality. That is what we try to introduce as slow combo, so people in a city can have a taste of different activity, but then also allow them to have a space where they can do a deep healing journey as well within the city.
Fantastic. So, from both of you, the similarity there is that you started this as a personal journey to wellness, and then you found a way to scale it and monetize it and offer it to others as a mode of, helping making their lives better as well. But Namtan, then I would ask you, you were facing a lot of stress before. How stressful is it running a successful business in Bangkok?
I mean, it's still stressful, to be honest. I guess we still. I'm not saying that like now that we shift into a wellness industry, we don't have any stress at all. That
Of course, yeah.
totally, like, if anyone say that, they're completely a liar. But I think now that we're both in the wellness in industry, we have more tools. We
Hmm.
know we have more level of awareness, because really at the end of the day of anyone that come in slow combo, our main goal is really we wanted to raise consciousness. We wanted to
Hmm.
give people a level of awareness that, like, to start like noticing, either a feelings or a physical symptom or emotional symptom, and all. And that is what I also practice within my own work as well. Like, you starting to practice more boundary when it comes to work. Like, I'm starting to develop a better relationship with my own body, to listen better to my own body. Like, I used to be honest, like, really, like, before I turned 30, I used to be a person that like don't like to sleep. Like, I don't enjoy sleeping at all. I'm just like work is so much fun. But and I don't listen to my body, when now I'm trying to really embrace more of the feminine side of me. And when I say it's feminine, I'm not talking about like woman, not like physical. It's just more of the quality, the feminine quality, like keeping balance, nurturing, and like really giving yourself like self-love, like, nourishing your body with good food, being flexible, being keeping your balance and listen to your body better and nourish yourself is good for us. So I think all this quality was really have been underappreciated in the past, both in the way that I work and the way that I like live my life as well. So now my goal is really try to embrace the both side, masculine and femininity, and really try to live a more balanced lifestyle.
Fantastic. I think that's the way to live now, given the stress of everything that's happening in the world. But I think that's a good perception to have. Laurent, now I've been to Bali before, and I found that people come to Bali for very specific reasons. It's either the fact that it's very tourist friendly, people are coming to have a good time, and there's also an element of what's called medical tourism. So, how do you see the demand in Bali for services like yourself? And I'm sure that the industry is hyper competitive as well.
I would say the medical tourism is a different thing, in my
Hmm.
opinion. Medical tourism is people traveling, to countries for cheap operations. That's how I
Hmm.
understand medical tourism. I think what you mean is kind of wellness tourism,
Yeah, sorry,
where
wellness
people,
tourism. Yeah,
yes, so people come for retreats, detoxes, yoga trainings. So yeah, I think Bali and specifically Ubud from historically is a place for healing. Like the actual word Ubud has the meaning of like healing. So all the sort of local healers and shamans were always based in Ubud, and it was kind of like the spiritual center of the island. And over time, that with tourism, it opened up to yogis, mainly the yoga community. When I came here 10 years ago, and I see now that's developed into different modalities, like breath work, Namtan mentioned cacao ceremonies, like meditation, sound healing. All these things are things that like developed afterwards. And it's in general this kind of trend of like wellness going from like just the body, taking care of your body, going to a massage or eating healthy, then taking care of your mind, meditation, taking care of your spirit, yoga, and it's kind of like this journey, wellness journey that most people are on, where they start with like usually the physical aspect, and then they move through the different dimensions, and it becomes more expansive. And I think what's really interesting now is this convergence between like experiences and wellness. So it's more like curated experiential wellness offerings, such as like very curated retreats, experiences like at the Pyramids of Chi, where I have one of my Zensate LSV installations.
Hmm.
So this is attracting like a wider group of people, because it's not just about healing and well-being. It's also about having an experience that makes you feel good. So it's wellness is kind of transitioning more into the mainstream in this way. Yeah.
Yeah, as Namtan mentioned, it's especially gained popularity after COVID when people found themselves locked in with themselves and realized that we're not doing too well and we need to
Mhm.
start
Yeah.
working on it. But
Mhm.
Lauren, then as you're saying that this experiential kind of wellness is taking hold in the market. How does that translate into competition on the island? Are you in a unique position with what you're offering, or do you have competition in Bali as well?
Personally, I don't have any competition, because what I'm doing is completely, yeah, I don't, there's not, I mean, there's different people doing sound healing, but what I'm doing
Hmm.
is, I would say, is quite unique. So, from my perspective, I don't have much competition, but I know other people who are offering breath work, for example, or
Okay.
yoga, then there's so many places you can do yoga or breath work or cacao ceremonies, and it is quite saturated. So, and especially with what's been happening in the world, a lot of expats have moved to Bali and are trying to
Yeah.
start their own offerings. So now there's 10 times more facilitators, or even more than that, in Bali, trying to start something. So yeah, it is every day, every hour of the day, you can join some kind of wellness experience event in Ubud alone. So, and there's multiple events like overlapping all the time. So yeah, there is competition, and it is getting quite saturated, I would say.
No, but I've rarely heard of sound therapy being as common. So I can tell that while there might be indirect competitors to what you're offering, there won't be a lot of direct competitors. But then, how easy is it to replicate your services? What's stopping another expat coming in with this and starting this kind of sound based therapy?
Yeah, I was lucky because I partnered with the Pyramids of Chi, which was the first venue to dedicate themselves entirely to sound healing.
Hmm.
So before that, sound therapy, sound healing was a weekly event in a yoga shala somewhere, that
Hmm.
and it wasn't like a dedicated space for it. So Pyramids of Chi really pioneered the space in terms of like investing a lot in planning for years and building for years this very special place that is purely like focused on sound healing. And I think that's hard for someone to replicate, because it's a huge commitment and a big step into something new, that most other centers are trying to do too many different things. They're trying to do yoga, breath work, and then they're trying to add like a sound healing class in between. And the fact that you have a dedicated space and center for it makes it very attractive. If someone wants to do sound healing or sound therapy, they will go to Pyramids of Chi, because it's purpose built for that. Um, so in terms of replicating that, yeah, you would need to have someone come in and be brave enough to attempt to do that with a very specific intention in mind. And I
Of
think
course.
a lot of people get put off, because they're like, oh, am I going to be able to fill my venue just being so specific on one thing? And I think I believe that's the way to do it. Do something unique and do it really, really well, and then you won't have so much competition, right? If you're just trying to play it safe and replicate things that already exist, then you will have competition, and yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah, because a lot of our audiences, I've always mentioned this, are people who are looking for their next venture and looking to start something in one of these emerging markets. So I guess the lesson here is that you can either come in and do the conventional restaurants, the bars, the general wellness centers or stuff, or you can look for a unique angle to whatever's being offered, and then you can kind of build your USP around it. But there's a lot of
Right.
science that goes into that, right?
Yeah, I think you have to be brave. You have to have a vision, and then you have to do it. And you have to do it well, right? So, but if you get all those things aligned, then it works. And but it's, yeah, I think there's the part of like having an original idea, then executing it. Um, and I'm not sure how many people are looking at business in that way. I think people are more looking, okay, what's the opportunity? Can I
Yeah.
open a wellness center that's slightly differentiated to this one with a higher price point and a different target market? And it's just kind of playing in the existing boundaries of the market versus like, landing something that's very unique and that's going to attract people, right? You create an attraction versus another wellness center. It's like, okay, I come to a bud, there's this thing that I need to go check out because it's like there's nothing else like it, and yeah, it's part of my trip, and I need to tick that off my list, right? So it's a different thing.
Makes sense. So Namtan, now Bali, we know for sure that people are looking for a certain type of wellness, and they're coming to Bali for a certain experience, and maybe they're looking into alternative, methods of wellness and as well. How does that play into Bangkok? Because again, I know that there's a lot of tourism in Bangkok, but then it's a very, very busy city. So, what kind of clientele are you catering to?
Yeah, so I guess yeah, like when you come to Bangkok, there's like tons of competition for like yoga, sound healing as well, starting to be very popular these days, even in Bangkok too. But the neighborhood where SlowCombo is, it's in Samyan neighborhood, which is like near university. Is a very very unique area because it's actually not like an expat saturated area, but a lot of tourists started to like discover and come to this area a lot because of like it's a very traditional local neighborhood where they're surrounded by tons of great amazing like street food. So that's why like a lot of tourists come here, but at the same time it's also a street food that are like very yummy but very fattening and not healthy. And Slow Combo are like really in the middle of this, and we're the oasis where we're trying to, convince the neighborhood to start living a bit more balanced lifestyle. So it's a little bit of like an
That's the
art
hook. So
animal in the
it's like
neighborhood.
having a weight loss center in front of a McDonald's. So yeah, it still works. Yeah.
Exactly. No,
Yeah.
exactly like what you're saying. Because like behind Slow Combo, there's like a greatest grilled pork neck, super famous, which is
Okay.
sort of super like fattening. But yeah, like just a few steps behind it, there's Slow Combo. But that's also where we think we have a unique point of view as well, because like we our like I mentioned before, our intention is that we wanted to empower and we wanted to spread mindfulness across to the people in the city, not just among like the expat or foreigner community in the Sukhumvit Road. We wanted to spread mindfulness to Thai community as well. But actually, our clientele are mixed, both foreigner tourists and also a lot of Chinese tourists actually, and Thai and foreign customers as well. But at the end of the day, as I mentioned to you, that like our concept of Soul Combo, it's a mindfulness playground. I think if you go back to the questions of like what is USP or unique selling point of Slow Combo, we believe is really coming from the essence of the founder or people create Slow Combo ourselves. Because me, like I have a background in beauty industry. My cousin, who is a co-founder, was running a massive like fashion brand in Thailand, and her husband is also a co-founder, is a running a branding design agency. And we're all are a little bit of like creative veteran who are like burned out and hit the wall at some point, and we're like, oh my god, we really need to have a more balanced lifestyle. But we try to blend art, fashion, style, and all this into like wellness to make this concept of healing more digestible and easier to access for other people. So that's why I'm saying, like, if you're looking for something that is like, beginner level, we have it. If you want something that is deeper, we also have this offer as well. And what is so unique about SlowCombo is that you can never find any place in Thailand where there's a sound healing happening, but then there's also an art exhibition happening on the top floor. And then sometime at nighttime, we have like a wine therapy session going on. So it's really like all this like type
A
of
mix of
combination
everything.
that
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
exactly which that we think this is what people in the city like need. When you on a healing journey, it doesn't mean you need to be like a strict lifestyle as you in a temple. And that's why I think the slow combo kind of come into place, because we wanted to introduce a healthy combo of life, basically.
Fantastic. But then I can imagine that, running a center as big as that, that has multiple levels of things happening all the time, the startup cost must have been super high. What was the startup journey like? How did you guys start off?
So actually, when we started Slow Combo, basically Slow Combo, it's a community space. If you want to envision
Hmm.
how it looked like, it's a community space with 3 floor, and we have a massive space for exhibitions on the top floor, and the bottom it's food, and then the second level it's our energy space where we have
Hmm.
sound healing and cacao ceremonies. We actually started Slow Combo first with the energy space, the
Okay.
healing center, like alone, because we feel that like, hey, this needs to be the heart and soul of Slow Combo. And we wanted to build our vision. The branding of Slow Combo is super clear from the start, that like we stand for, and then we start building the communities around. So obviously, like, I mean, I know other community space in the city are doing the other way around. They started with the food, other stuff first, and then they injected like the healing, right? But because we believe that like these need to be the heart of the space, and that's why we do it other way around. Obviously, it's not easy, because like first, not only because there's a lot of neighborhood, we kind of need to educate a lot of people
Of
as
course.
well. It's not like in Bali where you have along the dimension, you already have like a tourist like coming a lot of influx like incoming, right? Well, for us, we require a lot of education for people to understand like what is sound healing, like why are people coming here to lay down, why am I paying money to lay down and sleep. um, yes, so there's a lot of education, there's a lot of like communication and a cultivation of a tribe, trying to find who's a right tribe, and trying to build the communities around it so that people can feel that, hey, what we're offering is also a safe space where you can find yourself, and also where you can have a deep healing experience.
Yeah, but in terms of the process of starting this off, so you started off with like the one level of the energy space,
Yeah.
and then you expanded within the same building to these other levels.
Yes, we expand. I mean, we expand within the same building, because I mean, Energy Space is part of Slow Combo. It's part of the
Hmm.
community, and we starting to. So after we started Energy Space, people starting to see like this is our vision. This is what the type of tribe that we are looking for.
Hmm.
I mainly focus sharing with you here about the healing part, but the bigger vision of Slow Combo is actually all about cultivating a space for you to love yourself, loving others, and loving the world. So there's a bigger aspect of building a community, and also introducing people to more sustainable lifestyle as well, because we believe sustainability is
Right.
starting with yourself. So beside energy space, we also starting to attract people who have the same aligned vision as this. For example, Maliban on the second floor is an eco florist
Hmm.
flower shop, which is actually the only eco florist shop in Bangkok, basically. And they
Oh,
choose to come to Slow
interesting.
Combo because they believe that like, hey, this is the right spot, and we share the same passion, and we really trying to build something that is really valuable here. It's not easy to introduce a lot of new concept and new idea about plastic like upcycle and all, which is very normal in Bali, but in Thailand, in Bangkok, it's still quite a new concept. So we are a pioneer in a lot of different things that we're trying to introduce, and that's the reason why it's so important to really have to communicate your vision clearly and attract the right tribe, and very selectively create the right tribe for our
Of
space.
course. Of course. So, Lauren, what's it like running this business in Bali? I've heard recently that with costs of rent rocketing, three times in the last couple of years. Uh, What's it like? How are you running a sustainable business in Bali?
Well, from on my side, I'm not a venue manager or owner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm providing an experience to venues. So I provide this experience to a venue called Pyramids of Chi. I provide this experience
Mm-hmm.
to a venue called Sanctuary at Potato Head.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, for me, my main costs are developing the experience, which are
Of
like
course.
hardware, software, content. So it's more of like a product development process for me. And then I also have a team of facilitators who run the experience.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's quite. It's been yeah, I've been quite lucky with this because I started small and I gradually expanded the capacity of the experience, and it's going really well. I have over 80% occupancy at one of the venues every month,
Mm-hmm.
and it's automated. I have facilitators running it, so I can spend most of my time developing the technology to the next level. And yeah, so for me, it's I spend time in implementation for a
Mm-hmm.
few months when there's a new project, and then once it's implemented, once it's running, then I have time to focus on something else and
Sure. So,
continue
do you
developing.
have your like an office space separate from the venues that you're operating at, or are you always at the venues?
No, I have a studio, which is a research and development space where I'm
Mm-hmm.
producing music, prototyping. Then I'm also working with different suppliers for different components. A factory for like the furniture aspect, an electronics supplier in Thailand actually, working with different musicians to create content.
Mm-hmm.
Freelancers online for developing software. So it's a multidisciplinary project, and yeah, it's very interesting because I get to learn about many many new things, and find and work with like great people actually who are interested in the wellness field and in using art and technology for a positive purpose. Yeah.
So how difficult is it, or how easy is it to procure the necessary, whether it's the equipment or the people in Bali?
Well, in Bali for facilitators, there are many like qualified space holders, sound healers, people who are trained in many different modalities. So I have a very good team of people facilitating the sessions.
Mm-hmm.
As for the development, there is no one in Bali I'm working with except for like a furniture manufacturer because it's most of the talent I've found in the more like technically demanding aspects have been abroad in other countries. But not to be said it can't be found. Indonesia is a big country.
Of
It's just
course.
easier to yeah. Just the way things have unfolded is that I'm working with people in different countries at the moment.
I see. Okay, that makes sense. And this, your startup journey would have been the same, that you'd register the company. But were you able to register the company as 100% foreign owned company, or do you have local partners as well?
No, 100%. Yeah, with President Jokowi, who came into
Mm-hmm.
the presidency a few years ago, the rules changed and it became more easy to create your own company where you're 100% shareholder. Before that, you could only be 49% shareholder. I think it's a
Yeah.
similar situation in Thailand at the moment. So that changed, yeah. And then I was able to create a company at that stage.
Well, yeah, but we've seen that with more and more foreigners coming to Indonesia to start businesses, that it was bound to happen.
Hmm.
With there would be certain ease of starting businesses in Indonesia. But how about Bangkok? What's it like setting up a business in Bangkok? I'm sure, yeah, since you're a resident already, a native resident, so it might have been relatively easier to do that. Or did you require any additional licenses for what you're offering as well?
Yeah, I guess yeah, Thailand it's pretty easy for starting business, I would say. That's why you how you see like new innovation. It's kind of in one of the innovation hub of like Southeast Asia, right? So it's quite a lot of news idea are very welcome, and starting a business is not so complicated at all. Yeah.
For a resident, I'd say. For a foreigner, it might be a little bit more difficult, right?
Yes, but if you have a partner, like like a register a company, like establishing a partnership, it's not, yeah, complicated. And of course, like
Yeah,
government board of investments also
yeah.
really supporting that as well. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of support coming from either from the government side or even encouraging a lot of startup to start in Bangkok. As you
Hmm.
might have known that like now Koh Phangan, in the southern part of Thailand, it's starting to be like one of the top rated digital nomad, destination for people to work here, remote travelers, or even starting a business. Yeah, it's starting to be very easy for people to do that.
Right. And did you require any additional licenses for running a wellness center, or not?
Not in our no, not in our case because we register as like a community space, but of course our energy space we do practice like the standard protocol of like following like having the right insurance, like liability waiver and so on. It's not so much of the studio, but it's more about having the right facilitator actually because of course all the facilitator have to be a certification whether
Yeah.
in terms of like sound healing yoga and so on. So if more of that because slow combo we're not like in our own like operate we're our venue basically we
Yeah.
are not we don't operate like the classes ourselves. We actually consider ourselves as a platform for co-healing space where we partner with the practitioner, and that's the reason why the certification qualifications and licensing is more on the facilitator side.
Right. So, Lauren, then I believe that's where you come in. So, you're a facilitator and you want to perhaps set up your services in Slow Combo. So,
Mhm.
would you require, these certifications from Thailand in order to do that?
Well, anyone who's facilitating the experiences that I'm creating would have to have some sort of training, either in sound therapy or in like first aid as well.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's definitely there are some requirements to be able to facilitate, and in general, it's not just about certifications. It's you're holding a space for people to feel safe and to go into like a healing process potentially. So I think this is the main thing. Like facilitators have to be experienced in their own like healing journey and already have to be like a few years into that before they can support other people, and that's mainly what I'm interested in. And then the certifications and all of that is secondary, but it's more like the quality of the space that they can hold. Yeah.
So, are your facilitators in Bali at the moment, native Indonesians, or did you have to bring someone from abroad?
At the moment, it's about 60 to 70% Indonesian and
Hmm.
30% expat. So yeah, I am. It just happened that way naturally.
Hmm.
There are many talented Indonesian musicians, facilitators, and yeah, it feels good to have a majority of like Indonesian facilitators in my sessions, and
How
I
would that
think there was
translate
only
into
one.
Thailand?
Yeah.
And how would that
Yeah.
translate into Thailand for Lawrence? So will you look for facilitators from Thailand, or will you bring people from either Indonesia or other parts of the world?
Yeah, so this project that we're trying to work with Laurent, we have a very seasoned facilitator, sound healer,
Hmm.
Arisa, who she not only a very experienced sound healer, but she also a Reiki master, Kundalini yoga teacher as well. And I think most important, I mean, beyond what Laurent mentioned, that it's beyond the certification itself, it's also understanding the work ethic of the persons as well.
Of
Because,
course.
like you said, it's not only about holding space, but also I think within the organization we recognize that like Arisa is a very honorable practitioner. She's a very high work ethic, and because of that, we trust in this partnership to build this together. Because this is a project that require like a big investment as well. We know it's going to be very unique and it's going to be successful, and of course, having the right partnership, different party, it's the part that we really pay attentions on.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Uh, so I feel like that naturally there is a synergy between you guys, and I can see how you guys are working together. Uh, but Namtan, how often are you taking on new vendors or new facilitators for your space at Slow Combo? Is it like very frequent, or do you have a set list of people that you're already working with and you don't have any more room?
So actually, I used to be very loyal to my practitioner
Yeah.
because, like, I mean, sorry, I'm still loyal. Don't get me wrong, I'm still loyal. But when I'm saying that, as in, like, I used to be quite strict with the way I work with facilitator, that they have to be experienced and, like, and all. But at the same time, as I mentioned, when we develop the space, we want this to be a co-healing space. So that's mean we wanted to support practitioners as well. So we do have some who are like, all right, like, okay, they graduated from a yoga teacher, they did yoga teacher training after a year. They are very like very determined to offer healing. We do offer them those space as well, but of course, like in that case, then we will co-curate the class with them
Mm-hmm.
in a more like careful like manner, that we co-curating this like together. While like if we know that this cacao ceremony is a shaman that been trained in South America, then we let her do her own thing, because we already have she already like our what we call like a resident cacao ceremonist. Then we have like a give them a full authority to manage the class. Yeah, so I would say that I think it's important to have the right balance, because every practitioner, like every healing aspire healer, need to start somewhere,
Of
and a
course.
platform like us is where we wanted to be able to collaborate, because that's really the heart and soul of Slow Combo. We're like everything, we believe in co-creation. We believe in co-creating this community and this core healing experience with our practitioner. So that's why, yeah.
So, Lauren, on that side, now Namtan is offering a space in Bangkok for you to expand in. Have you been looking at other countries and other spaces where you could potentially expand your offering?
Yes, I have quite a few inquiries from around the world to do
Mm-hmm.
so. So again, I've explored with like different parties around the world, but it's really about finding the right partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to expand just for the sake of expansion,
Of course.
and I want to feel that the energy coming from the other party is going to match like the energy that I'm going to put into it in terms of like the scale and the vision of like what they want to create, right? Because I have a lot of people who are just interested in very small setups, like one room in their spa or in their house or whatever, and this is not really what I'm like focusing on right now. So I have there is one space opening in France in a few months this summer. It's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
retreat center high up in the mountains in a very beautiful place, very remote but very special. Um, yeah, potentially with Namtan later this year. Also have some inquiries from different countries at the moment. Yeah, so just assessing those and yeah, just not I'm not trying to do this as quickly as possible. I'm trying to do it like with
With
I want
peace,
to have
right? Yeah.
with peace, yeah, and enjoying, and also it's important who you work with, right? If you can have fun together doing it, that's very important, and it's not just about business and transactional. It's like for me, I still consider this like an art
Mm-hmm.
project or like a work of art that I'm developing, and I feel like it has to retain a certain integrity as it expands. Yeah.
The vibe I'm getting from both of you generally is a very, I can tell that you're both from this industry, because as an expat, someone who'd look at starting a business in one of these places would look at the numbers, the facts and figures, how much money can I make out of this? But I feel like for with both of you, it's more about the vibe of doing good business that helps people. And wouldn't you say that that is what would make someone successful in this domain, Namta? If you like genuinely
For
passionately feel
me,
about something, yeah.
yes. Yes, I mean, otherwise I wouldn't live a corporate world.
Yeah.
Because I believe that, of course, like money is material at the end of the world. I mean, at the end of the day, we're trying to create something that is have a long lasting impact, right? So
Hmm.
it's starting with having the right energy and right intention setting. And of course, if you set an intention with making money, the energy that you portray will be very different.
Of course.
I believe that when people step in, you can already feel it if you're only seeking for like money and not a genuine experience. Because even though I'm moving industry from beauty to wellness, I still believe in consumer centricity. Like develop something that is really answer to the need of consumer and have a consumer at the really heart of what of the product that we try to develop, the service that we try to deliver. It need to really, I mean, because customer is king. I'm sorry, it's like it's cliche, but at the end of the day, we want them to be happy, and that's what make me happy.
So build something good and the customers will come, right?
Yes.
Yes, and that's how they will come back, right?
Yeah. But again, Laurent, I feel like you're in a very unique position of, acting as more of a service provider in this space. And, I can already think of a couple of places where you can potentially expand to, but I can tell that you're not very strongly focused on expanding and achieving a number, right? So what considerations would you have other than, the other party being on the same, wavelength as you? What other considerations would you have before expanding your offering to a different market?
Yeah, I mean, it really, as I said, it depends on the partner, who's the person, who has the interest, what kind of project they have. Is it of a big enough scale for me to invest my time into it as well? And what is their vision, right? Once that space is created. So yeah, there's considerations on the human level, like how if I like that person, if I want to share my time and energy with this person creating this project. There's considerations on the also on the business level. Are they ready to
Mm.
like invest the amount that's needed, or give the amount of space that's needed to this project, like physical space? um, and then it's also where I am at in my journey right now, because I'm a I've created this business myself. I'm self-funding it at the moment. I'm working with like a few different people, and it's what is that going to do to my also like creative process of taking on more projects, right? Is it going to take me away from the product development, the part of that I'm really enjoying, which is developing the experience, developing the product, so there are all those considerations. Yeah, so like for myself, also who the other person is, and also the physical space of where it's going to be implemented in. Yeah.
So, as a facilitator, Namdan, I think you'll be able to answer this better. So, if a facilitator, from wherever in the world they may be, they want to set up, within your space or similar spaces in let's say Thailand, what is the investment mechanism? Do you guys invest in setting up the space for them, or how much do they bring to the table? How does that work?
So, as I mentioned earlier, that like the principle that we try to follow in our community space is SlowCombo is we trying to co-create things together.
Of course.
So in this case, with this project with Alice We, the immersive light and sound, with Arisa, who going to be basically the main lead of the project, we
Hmm.
partner in the project together. Like, of course, we have arrangements on like, all right, how do we divide the tax? How do we, and where do we invest? Like, and it have to be a partnership. Like, I don't want to go down into like the boring detail, but basically, everyone have to need to have them what they're accountable for,
Of
right? Like
course.
whether like okay, technicality, that's where Lohong come in, or Arisa, where she bring the expertise on like the sound healing, the actual energy work itself, and on my side, Slow Combo, where they're bringing in the creative vision from the marketing of the bigger like the space standpoint, how we can tie it into the total storytelling, the marketing, decorating, interior design, and so on. Like these are the part that we are working like all together, multi-party. So that's why I think like just have being clear on each person like accountability, responsibility, and co-creating this together, where we are clear on everyone's. I think that's where it's important for us.
Interesting. So, Lauren, back to you. I'm gonna try to end this podcast on a note that helps our listeners in starting their own businesses as well. I can already feel that you are very at peace with the way that things in your business have transpired. But are there any things that you faced as a business owner, as an entrepreneur in Bali, that you would want to tell others about? That watch out for these two things, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I seem at peace now in the podcast, but I've
Yeah,
had some
yeah.
tricky experiences, and it's mainly to do with with like partnerships, and this is why I'm quite like careful now with like who I partner,
Hmm.
because when I first started this, I was more like, yes, okay, expand. Many people, like all these people are interested. These people want to be part of it and expand it. But then I wasn't like seeing, I wasn't really looking at the red flags that were popping up with certain partners, and that didn't go in a good direction at all. So what's what for me is most important is like good relationships, like choosing good people to work with, because at the end of the day, that's everything. It's the combination of like of human alchemy, human chemistry, human energy that's going to create something great. And it's better to take it slow in the beginning until you find, the right partners, rather than quickly trying to expand by jumping into partnerships without, without assessing that. So for me, that's been a big learning. See how much I can do myself, and then wait for the right partnerships to come, versus trying to seek them out, and trying to move too quickly. And it's especially when you're doing something that's, in the wellness space, right? The health of the company also needs to be, if
Yeah.
it's not just money focused, like the wellness translates to you, also to your team, and that will be reflected in your offering. So that's very important to nurture that if you're in the wellness space.
Interesting. Namtan, what about you? So how long have you had Slow Combo now? A couple of years?
So about, I mean, from our like soft opening, we're almost 2 years now. We're still quite
Interesting.
new, but for
Okay.
like official opening, we're about to have our anniversary, and that's when the home will fly to
Fantastic.
Thailand to
Fantastic.
join.
So let's recap the year. What are some things that you wish you knew before starting this business? Any pitfalls that you might have avoided in setting and running this business?
I think first of all, like I believe I wished we I was probably say like I wished we understand the consumer in this area like right from the start in terms of like their purchasing power, how much they're willing to spend, because all this data were not available when it becomes such a unique venue where like no wellness space exists before, right?
Of
We know
course.
how much they pay for food, but we don't know how much they're willing to pay for like healing experience, for example. So I guess like we would probably be able to accelerate much faster if we have more consumer data point, consumer research. I mean, I used to work in product development before in my previous career, so I was used to be very hands on all this kind of data. But when we started SlowCombo, we don't have that. It's energy space. It's the energy work. We don't have that such like research like available to you like on the table that as easily like that. So I think that would probably one thing that I wish we could do better from the start. And then also I think at the end, again, I already said, I think it come down from like finding the right tribe and
Mhm.
finding a way to get like repeat customer, but also people that you work with as well. Like when I this is not only about Slow Combo, but when I started in my journey in wellness space, I also working on other different like wellness project as well. For example, I we just have a mental health festival where I partner with another nonprofit organizations,
Mhm.
and then I bring those mental health festival to Slow Combo. So I work with multiple party. But and what I learned throughout this experience is that like, hey, having an aligned vision, it's very important, but most important it actually like the people that work, because even though we're passionate about the same cause, but if the chemistry is not right, then yeah, this it could also be very difficult as well. So like aligning having the complementary working like lifestyle, and having people that you can trust and bringing the right energy is very important for sure. So I
Wonderful,
second that.
wonderful. So I guess for any foreign expats or foreign entrepreneurs who are listening in, uh, so these opportunities in wellness still exist in markets even like Bali, where while you can just come in and start the run of the mill wellness center with yoga and stuff, but if you bring in something unique to the table, there's still demand for those services. And I would say that it's very similar in Namtan's case as well, that while there might be a million yoga centers and healing centers, if you've got something that's good, that's building a community, and you're passionate about it, I guess an expat can find success in these industries as well. Would you guys agree to that?
Of course, yeah.
Yes, definitely. People crave for authenticity, right? At
Yeah.
the end of the day. Yeah.
Absolutely. So again, I would like to thank you both for taking the time to speak with me today. It has been a wonderful journey looking at how you guys started, and I can see that the most important thing that's popped out for me is that if you're passionate about doing something and you actually believe in it, the numbers just follow, and that might be true for anywhere in the world, especially in these markets where you're selling something that's so so personal, and you work on it yourself and you offer it to others, and in the means of helping them make their lives better. I feel like passion is something that everyone should have when starting a business in these markets. But
Mhm.
so to close this off, Namtan, so SlowCombo, right? How can someone get in touch with you if they're in Bangkok, they're visiting for a while? How do they get in touch with you and take advantage of those amazing services?
At Slow Combo on Instagram, Mindfulness
Mhm.
Playground in Samyang neighborhood. So yeah, we're open every day. You can come anytime. Not
Fantastic.
after 10 p.m., but yes.
Okay. Fantastic. And Lauren, I am dead certain that next time I'm in Bali, I'm going to have to experience your services because, I'm kind of musically inclined as well. And I would love to see the experience that you've built with the music. How does someone get in
For
touch with
sure.
you?
So you can either on Instagram, my company is called Zensate, Zensate. Also my website, zensate.com, or they can directly go to Pyramids of Chi or the Sanctuary Experience, Potato Head to book the experience. It's called Light Sound
Fantastic.
Vibration LSV. Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, guys, for joining the Emerge podcast. And I hope you guys find as much peace and happiness in your own work and your own lives as you're bringing to other people as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
While the world's still asleep, we're already grinding. Walking foreign streets, big city lights so blinding.